Good morning, all of you, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Study in Germany information session on scholarship opportunities for masters and PhDs in Germany, organized by the International Relations Office with collaboration of German Academic Exchange Service. I am Shamali Tenakon from the International Relations Office, and I am happy to be your host for today's program. It's 10:40 a.m. and we are about to start the session. Please be kind enough to turn off your video and microphone, and please feel free to put your questions in the chat section below. At the end of the session, we will try to provide answers to them as much as possible.
Yeah, thank you very much for that introduction. And also, International Relations Office of University of Pennsylvania is not a new place for DAAD.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nadish, for that introduction. Actually, I would like to invite our director, Professor Sienare Alas, to deliver the welcome address.
Okay, thank you, Shamali. Actually, we are facing some kind of trouble, actually, technical trouble. So I hope all the participants are on board. So, Sandhika, can you check, actually, before you start the proceedings, can you check the number of participants and all these things, if they have some problems?
Yes,
you have to assist them. So until that, Professor Alas, actually, I'm the director of this International Relations Office. Actually, I originally worked at the medical faculty as the head of the Department of Biochemistry. So I warmly welcome Nadisha Palyaguru to this meeting, and I would like to thank you for organizing this kind of, the session, awareness session. And I welcome all the participants to this the session anyway. So the objective of organizing this meeting is to educate our participants about the opportunities, the postgraduate opportunities today, especially MSc opportunities in Germany. So I hope this is going to be a very fruitful session to the participants. And again, I thank Mr. Nadisha for his cooperation and carrying out this kind of session today. Please, this is all to you, Mr. Nadisha. Please start your session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Alice. And also thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you very much, Mr. Nadisha. So now I would like to invite Mr. Nadisha Ranganath Palyaguru, Sri Lankan representative of German Academic Exchange Service, to conduct the information session on scholarship opportunities for masters and PhDs in Germany today, especially for masters opportunities. So, Mr. Nadisha, the session is yours.
Thank you. Thanks. So, without any further delay, let me introduce what this organization DAAD is. So you can have a basic idea who we are. We are spread all over the world, and our duty is to provide funding opportunities for different disciplines and for those who are excellent in academics. DAAD to be the largest funding organization in the world. This is how we get our funding. As you can see, we get the major chunk of funding from the Federal Foreign Office of Germany. And we are a German government organization. So we get funding from many other organizations, also German organizations. And you must be wondering why it's DAAD. DAAD is because it's because of our German name. Now, in English, it's the German Academic Exchange Service. In German, we are Deutsche Akademische Austauschdienst. That's why we are DAAD. So, and I'm really happy to see we have a lot of participants today representing different disciplines. And it's a common question from different audiences. Is it a country for engineering? Answer is yes and no. It's a wonderful place for those who are going to excel in the field of engineering. But not only that. Here I have a slide with Nobel laureates from Germany representing different fields. So whatever you excel, whatever your field is, there's a place for you in Germany. Talk a bit more about Germany, how Germany is connected to the world, starting from a simple jeans to an aspirin tablet and an MP3 player, one of the most important devices that we talk about today. So the list is quite long. I have extracted few from the big list. And I think it is also not complete if I don't talk about why you have to study in Germany, because there are popular study destinations among Sri Lankans in their mind, like Australia, New Zealand, USA, UK. Germany is not on, I would say, top 10 list among Sri Lankans. But if you don't know about Germany, so here we talk about a good balance between theory and practice. We'll talk about that a little later. We also talking about the quality of research and teaching. After completion of your studies, you have many other options. You can grow professionally, and it's one of the safest countries to live in the world. And compared to many other countries in Europe, Germany is one of the economical countries. And as I mentioned earlier, you have over 20,000 courses to select in German universities. And even if you want to study French language, or even if you want to do master's program in Ayurvedic medicine or yoga, there are programs in Germany. To talk a bit about the students of Germany, number of Sri Lankan students in Germany are increasing every year. Last year, we had an increase of 14%, which is much higher than the global average. There are a lot of international students. Typically, if I share my experience, if you are in the city of Berlin, most popular city in Germany, it's quite interesting. It's not only German language we hear. We hear sometimes a bit of Chinese, bit of Hindi, bit of Tamil, also sometimes Sinhala also. It's quite multicultural, quite international. And talk about study programs. There are over 2,000 international programs. Let's talk about this a little later. And about universities in Germany, there are two kinds of universities mainly. First one is universities of applied sciences. So in German, if you refer to the German databases, you'll see Fachhochschulen. So these are universities of applied sciences. These are always connected with an industry. Let me take the example of automobile engineering. So if you want to do a master's program in automobile engineering, you will find programs in Germany, English medium programs. And these universities are connected with an industry. For an example, maybe with Audi, maybe with Mercedes-Benz. So apart from the university education, you also get first-hand experience in the industry also. Not only the example I get, this can be in any practical field. Technical universities, or we say Technische Universitäten or Universitäten, these are more theory-based, where there's no practical involved. Say, for an example, if you want to do a PhD program, you have to go to a university. If you take a field like history, we don't have a lot of practical things involved compared to a field like mechanical engineering. In that case, it's the university. So these are more research oriented. And if you want to do a PhD, you have to go to a university, whatever the field is. These are basically classification based on administrative purposes, not about quality. Let me talk also a bit about master's programs in Germany in detail. Now, to enter to a master's program in Germany, you have to have a 4 years bachelor's degree, a special degree. And if you have only a 3 years bachelor, so if you're likely to get a 3 years bachelor's degree, that again depend on the discipline. Say if you are into natural sciences or engineering, natural sciences, then German universities will consider. But if you are into humanities, then you might have to go one extra step. Maybe the particular German university will give you one additional semester, or you might have to do some extra subjects that depend on the university. I can't give a general answer for this question, whether the 3 year bachelor degree holder can easily get into a German university, because universities are autonomous in Germany. They can take their own decisions. So if you are likely to get qualified through a 3 years bachelor's program, then please contact the German university. They'll have an answer for you. This is the typical application schedule for a German university. There are 2 semesters. One is the winter semester, which is the most popular semester, starting on 1st of October. All the universities in Germany have a winter intake. We also have a summer intake. Only 25% of the German universities have this second intake, the summer intake, other than the winter. Only 25% of the universities have this. There's also, we have a portal. It's good if you can take a photo of this if you are interested. If you want to apply for a German university and to communicate with universities, I mentioned earlier, universities are autonomous. So you might have different questions like, I have done my bachelor's program in English medium. Do I still have to do IELTS? I have a 3 years bachelor's degree. Can I enter? So if you have such questions, you don't have to write emails to universities. You can use this My Guide portal. It's a sort of a messenger service. You can contact German universities through myguide.de. Another interesting thing about German higher education system, 95% of the universities are entirely free. They don't charge even from international students. So universities are basically free of charge. And there's one state called Baden-Württemberg. In this state, they charge a nominal fee from students, but all other states, they don't charge from students for universities. There's a semester contribution. So if I share my experience in University of Bonn, when I studied, I paid 200 euros per semester. So we are talking about a period of 6 months. So it's quite a small amount. It's approximately 30 euros per month. So that's not going to be a big amount. Also, I should mention here what the semester contribution is. Now, this is an administrative fee, not for the university, but for a student body. There you get many things in return. Now, in Germany, transportation is quite expensive. If you do the semester contribution, you get transportation free of charge in the city, like the city area. And you get discounts when you travel to other cities, other countries also. And if you are into films, theater, in these places also, you get a student discount. And if you want to go for a pub, or if you want to go for a club, maybe to an exhibition, still you get discounts if you have the semester contribution ticket. So indirectly, I would say, even though the contribution is 200 to 350 euros per semester, the benefits you get is much, much higher than that. And when you apply for universities, there's certain universities you can apply direct, but for certain universities, you need to go through this platform called Uni Assist. This is playing roles a little similar to our University Grant Commission. So what they do, they collect applications for a particular course, and they see whether the student has minimum qualifications to enter. This can be language proficiency, this can be subjects in your degree programs, bachelor's program. Likewise, they'll screen applications through Uni Assist. And to study in a German university, you do not have to go through any consultant. Through this, you can save a lot of money. We are talking about sometimes millions. I have seen there are organizations and even individuals promoting these services. But if you can read and write simple English, you don't have to go through any of these consultants. Can do it. And also a story of 95% of students leaving to Germany from Sri Lanka or any other country. They do their documentation on their own. Every information is available online. In general, these are the examinations we talk about when it comes to English, language testing, IELTS or TOEFL. But if you have done your studies in English medium, then you can always negotiate with the university and exam these examinations, English language testing. Now, I spoke about all the good things about free universities, economic situation, about courses. Let's talk about finances also. Before talking about finances, I like to highlight, if you get a scholarship from DAAD or any organization, it can be a Sri Lankan organization, any other country or German organization like DAAD, Alexander von Humboldt, any of these funding organizations, you do not have to show money. You do not have to maintain this blocked account. Here I'm talking about those who cannot secure funding from any of the funding organizations. If you have only an admission from a German university, you have to maintain a blocked account. The amount is 10,332 euros. This is for the whole period. This amount is equivalent to your expenses in Germany for a period of 1 year. And we are also talking about the most expensive city in Germany, Munich. Basically, you need to open this account online and transfer money from Sri Lanka to Germany. So this is important for visa processes, not to apply for a university. To apply for university, basically your financial situation is not important. Now, living expenses also, again, we are talking about the most expensive city in Germany, Munich, or in German München. And that's the most popular city among students. Here, we are talking about a figure of 350 euros approximately for accommodation. Now, if you can share your accommodation, or if you're okay to stay in a hostel, still you can shred this figure down. Food and beverages, keep it. And for clothing, we are talking about 13,000 Sri Lankan rupees. If you do not want to spend for clothing every month, then you can cut this figure also down. For learning materials, now we don't have to buy a lot of books. You can download a lot of materials. Then you can again save this. And for transport, we have approximately 94 euros. But if you have done the semester contribution, your transport will be free of charge in the city. Health insurance, you have to keep this. This will cover from a slightest cold to a heart attack. And also not only in Germany, any country. Health insurance is a must in Germany for whoever it is. For communications, again, approximately 30 euros. Again, we have different apps and we can contact other countries. So still, it's going to be very cheap. And sport facilities also quite cheap. You have jogging tracks and sport facilities in universities. These are entirely free of charge. So as you just noticed, there are many ways to cut this figure down now. If I take a typical Sri Lankan student from our region, it can be 400 to 500 euros per month. Again, that depends on how frugal you are, what your lifestyle is. How I can cover these expenses? The next question, about 800 odd euros. How can I cover these expenses? Here you have the answer. You can work full-time in part-time in Germany. You have 120 full days or 240 half a days. And during festival times like Christmas or Easter, number of hours to work is even higher. So 1/3 of the year is allocated for part-time employment. What can I do after my studies? Here you have the answer. After your master's, you can start your PhD or join a German company. You can also start your own business in Germany, Sri Lanka, any other country, or you can connect these countries. You can move to any other European country or most of other countries also for employment. With that, let me move on to the most important thing of today's presentation, funding. About DAAD funding, the first one is for those who are learning German. We have a lot of students from University of Peradeniya at the moment in the German Cultural Institute learning German additionally. So if you have B1 level of German, you can apply for this university summer courses. Since that doesn't address most of you, I won't spend most of the time. Yes, this grant, Public Policy and Good Governance, Helmut Schmidt program. You can see all our funding options in our funding guide DE. You can see in the bottom of our slide, fundingguide.de. I'll give an easy link also for that in the end of our presentation. Now, this scholarship, master's program in public policy and good governance, even though you see it as one grant, there are many grants involved. Now, there are different fields under this in 8 different universities. It can be analysis and design of social protection system, Master of Development and Governance, Master of Public Policy. In University of Osnabrück, you have Management of Non-Profit Organization, Development Studies, Master of Governance and Public Policy, and University of Potsdam, you have Master of Public Management. Likewise, there are different universities, different program under this public policy and good governance. You can see all other details. There are master's grants and also PhD grants in it. You can see the research, monthly allowance. Now, universities are entirely free in Germany. So DAAD or DAAD grants are for your living expenses, for your mobility. And deadline is approaching. And there are requirements for all these DAAD funding options. Your bachelor's program or the last qualification should not be older than 6 years. That's the first rule. And for certain, most of the funding options, we don't need any work experience. There's only one grant, which I'm going to talk next. You can refer this fundingguide.de and search for public policy and good governance. If it's your field, you can find more information. And this is the most popular grant among Sri Lankan students when it comes to masters. Development-related postgraduate programs. Same like the previous public policy and good governance grant. This is also for masters and PhD. Some grants are for PhD, some grants are for masters. So duration is 1 to 2 years. And for masters students, you get an allowance of 861 euros plus research allowances or family allowance if you are married and if your family is accompanying with you in Germany. But for these programs, you need to have 2 years of post-qualified work-related experience. Even though we are talking about development-related courses, there are many fields in it. Now, there are fields like economic sciences, business administration, and political economics. This is one cluster in it. So there are 3 universities, 3 programs to apply. Other one is development cooperation with 6 different universities. Another very popular grant among Sri Lankans, engineering and related sciences. So in this, we have 10 universities. We talk about fields like hydroscience, textile and ready-made clothing, management in developing countries, water resources and environment management, sustainable and renewable energy, air quality, infrastructure planning, natural hazards and structural engineering. Likewise, there are different programs. So if you are graduated in these fields or graduated plus you have 2 years of work experience in these fields, you can apply. Other fields like regional and urban planning, agriculture and forest science, natural and environmental sciences, medicine and public health, social sciences, education, law, and media studies. So there are a lot of programs. There are a list of programs. Let me also take you through after this presentation. And we have a grant for architecture, film, music, performing arts. If there's anyone in this field, details are going to be the same. But for these fields, you don't need to have any experience. Soon after your graduation, you can apply. And to apply for a visa, you can apply from German Embassy in Colombo. Let me spend a couple of seconds here. These are some of the important links to search for these programs and information about higher education in Germany, about scholarships. If you want, you can take a photo. After this presentation, I'll also take you through different websites where you can search for programs, scholarships, and find information on your own. So here are contact details. DAAD information point in Sri Lanka is connected to the German embassy. We are the higher education wing of the German embassy here. So you can get first-hand information from us. You can write to us or give us a call. And if you want to stay in touch with our DAAD activities, here also we have active Facebook, Insta, and LinkedIn channels. Now, let me take you through some of the important websites. Yeah. Now, the first one is the International Programs Database. I'll give you the link in the chat. So in the chat, I have given you a short link for DAAD International Programs Database. Now, you have many options. When you click the link, sorry for that. Okay, when you click for that, you have the options of selecting. Now, say most of you are interested in a master's degree and you are looking for English medium programs. Let's say you are interested in natural sciences related. I'm just taking an example. So once you select, you can see a lot of programs. You see a mathematics related program in University of Kaiserslautern. Here you can see there's no tuition fees, free of charge. And Chemnitz University, again, it's free of charge. Likewise, there are a lot of programs. Let me take you through this program, Advanced Computational Methods in Civil Engineering, RWTH Aachen. Now, you don't have to click everything. As soon as you see if there's a free university, if it's free, you can go through that. There you can find every other detail. So you have a summary of the program here. Course details, what are the subjects? What are the funding? Now, this program, even though there's no DAAD scholarship, funding within the university is possible. So when you are in let's assume that you got the admission to this university. Once you are there, you can seek funding for your living cost within the university. Requirements, registration, these should be the subject you have done in your bachelor studies. How you can apply for the university, you can see. You have to apply online through this. So every information about this university program is listed there. The second website is DAAD Sri Lanka website. So we have a lot of events like PhD research proposal workshop, different calls from conferences, and we have a lot of events, information sessions. There also you can find details. So here is the event section, PhD proposal writing workshops, and all these services are entirely free. Masters, PhD sessions, question and answer sessions, yeah. And our scholarship database, this is the most important thing. I'll give you that link also in the chat. I have given a short link for that. Now, once you are there, you can select your status, whether you are a doctoral candidate. Now, you must have noticed in my presentation, I had listed only a couple of funding options, but you have a lot of other funding grants, especially for PhD studies. You can spend some time here and see whether there's any other funding options. And I spoke about My Guide portal earlier. That is to communicate with German universities if you have any specific questions. Then here I have given the My Guide link also. So with that, we have come to the end of our presentation. If you have a question, I can see already there are questions. You can ask us now. Let me slowly move on to questions. Okay, let me move on to the first question. Can you please tell us the social science opportunities, especially philosophy and psychology? Here there are opportunities. I'm really happy to mention, especially about University of Peradeniya. We have a lot of DAAD scholarship holders from University of Peradeniya. Current scholars also, there are a lot from University of Peradeniya. And compared to many other universities in Sri Lanka, basically Germany is connected very well with University of Peradeniya. So in your field also, there are free universities to apply. There are a lot of opportunities in German universities, philosophy or psychology. If you're talking about master's level, at the moment, we don't have any funding for psychology, but if it's a PhD program, PhD grants are open for any discipline. Chatura Bandara wants to know about MBA programs. Yeah, MBA programs in Germany, unfortunately, they are not entirely free. There's a small cost involved, and recognition of these programs are also quite high. And sometimes you might need to have work-related experience after your bachelor's to apply these programs. And funding concern, we have one grant, MBA for Small Enterprise Promotion and Training Program in University of Leipzig under development-related postgraduate programs. Again, for that you need to have experience. So there's also a question about radiographic programs. There are programs, but we don't have funding at the moment. You can enroll with a free university, but not DAAD funding. We also have a question about language requirements to follow study programs in Germany. A good question. Every question is good, but I could not focus on this question in detail. Now, most of the study programs in Germany are English medium. I'm talking about master's and PhD programs. Over 90% of the programs are in English medium. Bachelor's program, most of the programs are in German, but master's, PhD, we talk about English medium programs. to survive in Germany, to inside the university, you don't need German at all. But if you spend some time on the language, it's always a plus point, maybe when it comes to your part-time employment after completion of your master's to work in Germany or to integrate with the German culture. If you have a bit of German language knowledge, it's always good. But to enter to a program to study in the university, you don't need German language. What is important is your English language testing. Are there any programs specific for food science? There are a lot of programs for food science. Maybe you need to further search on that. And DAAD funding concern under agriculture and food science, there we have funding also through development related programs for food science. And also there are different examinations, PTE or GMAT. If you can do these examinations, do that. If not, if it's required for the application, and if the program is not available, maybe you can write to the university and tell it's not available. So the university will give you a solution for that. Aruni's question I answered already. Do we need to have working experience to apply for DAAD scholarship? Only for EPOS scholarship, development related postgraduate programs, we need to have 2 years experience. For every other grant, it can be architecture, public policy and good governance, or the PhD grants, or whatever you name it, you do not need to have work experience to apply. There's also a question about dependent visa. If you are a scholarship holder, you can apply for dependent visa. Are there master's grants in the field of medicine? Yes, we have. We have a grant, Masters of Science in International Health, Charité University Berlin, and there are 2 other Berlin universities. It's a 1-year scholarship. We also have Masters of Science in Global and Urban Health, Master of Science in International Health in University of Heidelberg, one of the best universities in Europe, the first university in Germany. There are also Sri Lankan students at the moment doing their master's programs related to medicine. And also we have Global Health Risk Management and Hygiene Policy, University of Bonn, 2 years program. So if there are funding. Vajira's question I answered about psychology and philosophy. Operational research. I think there are questions, similar questions about different disciplines. Again, I'd like to highlight whatever your field is, there's an opportunity in Germany. And it may be certain fields like Buddhist philosophy may be not available in Germany. So these fields, if the field is very specific to a country, it may not be available, but in general, Germany represents all sort of study group. Yes, there's a question. Is there a master's program for German language and linguistic? Yes, there are programs. There are a lot of programs like University of Vienna, University of Kassel. There are a lot of universities offer linguistic and German language related programs. For these, you have to have C1 level of German language, and certification should be from the Goethe Institute. There's also a question about switching streams, bachelor's in English to international relations. And now this can be a bit of a tricky question for me. Number one, I have to highlight universities are autonomous. You can always contact the university and get answers for these questions. They'll consider your bachelor's program subjects, whether these units of, say, for your example, international relations units are units were available or units were present in this English bachelor's program. This is one thing. And if you're talking about a PhD program, then this interrelated or interdisciplinary approach is quite a hit in Germany. For a PhD program, answer can be yes, but for master's program, it depends. I think you will not have a good chance if you switch fields like this. Is it possible to do a direct PhD without masters? That's the question. Answer is almost no. For my 5 years experience in the German embassy in DAAD, I have seen only 2 students, but they also could not secure DAAD funding for their PhD. Indeed, most of the students have to go through a master's program to a PhD. Computer science and related programs, yes, there are programs, and IT is quite a demanding field in Germany. So when it comes to part-time work also, you will have a good demand, even without German language. Direct PhD without masters, I answered. A lot of questions about moving to a PhD after your bachelor's. Can I open a blocked account now since the rupees, since there's an issue with the rupee? Yes, you can still do that, but it can be a bit hard, not like those days, but still students are moving to Germany through blocked accounts. There's an interesting question about the social life in Germany. Ms. Tenakon, can I spend a few more minutes on question and answer session? Do we have time?
Yes, of course, we have enough time. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So since this question is quite interesting about social life in Germany. Now, as a student, what I enjoyed the most was traveling. Germany is quite connected. There are 5-6 train types, like high-speed trains, and these trains are connected to other countries also. You have also interesting bus services to travel to a different city. As a student, more than the university, I enjoyed this a lot. Now, Sri Lankan students in Germany are connected with Sri Lankan students in other countries like Netherlands, can be France. So you can take a bus or a train to other country. Let's say we are going to France, and accommodation is not going to be a problem if you share your accommodation with a fellow Sri Lankan student. And sometimes this transportation or train tickets or flights even can be cheap as 20 euros up and down. So the traveling can be very cheap also if you plan things ahead. Suddenly you get discounts. And typically on a sunny day like today, students usually go to a park and read a book, and they have many other activities to do. It can be you are in a rowing club, or you are going for a swim. There are many other options. So social life in Germany is quite happening. And on a typical Friday, there are different places where students gather. There are, if you are into reading, there are book reading sessions, or there are student parties. And also part-time employment is quite interesting in Germany. Now, I have worked in a cafe. Also in the university, I worked part-time. Now, in the cafe when I worked, my customers were from the university, my fellow university students. And on the next day, I'm again going to the university and my friends are serving. So there's no such cultural or social stages, I would say. So the day-to-day life, social life in Germany is quite interesting. And adding the second part of your question about the language, you will, if you want to settle in Germany, then you will learn more German if you integrate better with the German culture. And there are also different organizations to teach German for a nominal fee. Before moving to Germany, if you can spend some time on learning the language, that will be quite good. The next question, visa period grants after the master's to find a job. Yes. Now, after completion of your studies, whatever your field is, bachelor's, master's, or PhD, you get 1.5 years job seeker visa. Yeah, so you can search for a job during this period. You can always continue your part-time employment. And if you get a full-time employment during these 1.5 years, you can change your visa category and always continue your stay in Germany. We have a lot of questions, I see. Computer science and related fields. For whatever the field, there I can recommend one website. This is from the federal government. Make it in Germany. So www.makeitingermany.com. This is one website I recommend to know about the job demand, employability, whether your course is accepted in Germany, things like that. And also I would like to highlight the University of Peradeniya has H+ status in Germany. That means every program offered by University of Peradeniya are recognized in Germany. You don't have to go through any pre-screening process. I address about PhDs without masters, that it's not possible. Okay, that's an interesting question. I have completed my Ayurveda Masters of Surgery in 2016. Can I apply for PhD? Yes, you can apply for PhD. If you join the session tomorrow, I can give you a detailed explanation about this question. I can also share some tips to you. You can either contact us or join the session tomorrow. Post-study work visa, I answered. Geology related, yes, there are a lot of funding options and free programs also. Earth science, same answer. Public policy, development related, we have a lot of programs and a lot of funding also. Scholarship and good academic records, yes, these two go together. Our funding is based on your academic excellence. Dual Masters program, there's a question. I have received an admission for the Masters of Environmental Science, Dual Master. Is it possible to find funding? Answer is no. I'll give you also an answer for this question. For most of the Masters grants, I explained about development related programs, public policy, architecture, aesthetic related. Now, Masters funding, I'm specifically telling Masters funding. Together with the university application, you need to send the funding request also. After having an admission, you can't apply for funding. So these things should have done together. Yeah, and our master's funding is limited to these particular universities. But for PhD, you have to apply for DAAD grant after having an admission, and we fund any discipline, any supervisor, any university. About transferring of your university credits to German universities, again, write to the German university. Addressing the question about question by Dilshan, write to the German university. They'll give an answer to you. Can we apply for a German university with a general degree? Answer is yes, you can, but write to the German university before you apply. They'll give you an answer for that, and that depends on the discipline. That depends on your bachelor's program. After Master of Business Administration, can we apply for PhD? Yes. Opportunities in the field of management? Yes. Chamil's question, connected to the previous question, philosophy and psychology. Yes, at the moment we don't have funding from DAAD for in your field, so you have to self-finance. You have to move to Germany, work part-time and cover your living expenses, but universities are free of charge. Nadisha's question, or Nadisha, about requirements for granting a scholarship. Number one, academic excellence. If they require work experience also, and your documentation is also important. There are certain documents like your motivation letter, your CV should be in the European format. So these documents should be mistakes free, I would say. So the technicality and the quality of these documents also play a role. There's also a question about Nadisha, about deadlines. Since we are talking about a lot of funding options, there are many many deadlines. So go through the go through the DAAD scholarship database. You will, there are specific deadlines for different programs. Ramesh Khan's answer I gave about MBA program scholarships, it's under EPOS grant. There's one. Age limits. There's no age limit for any university or any study program, any scholarship in Germany. But if once in a while there can be age restrictions if you talk about fields like sports, science, and if you are like 60 plus, you can't apply for these programs. They'll have a age limit of 45 years. And it's quite interesting. When I studied in my German university, we had a student who is 78 years. So this is quite, the age is not a problem in Germany. Tamali's program on PhD opportunities. Yes, please contact us or join the session tomorrow. I'll explain in detail about the PhD. There's also a question, is it mandatory to have a first class or second upper to apply for masters? No. Ubudu's question, age limit. There's no age limit. There's also a question, can I bring my mother to Germany from a student visa? Situation is no. As a student, unless you have funding, you can't bring your family to Germany. But if you are employed, after completion of your studies, it is possible. Pharmacy field funding, at the moment, we don't have any funding, only free universities. Okay, there's a question, restricted admission. What does it mean? So we say NC courses, restricted admission. That is because of its Latin name, numerus clausus. So these programs, they have a quota for international students. It can be medicine, for an example. Most of the seats available in these programs are for German students, and very few programs for international students. So admission is a bit difficult compared to other programs, restricted admission courses. About cities, there's a question. There are a lot of cities in Germany, student-friendly cities. It can be all these metro cities. So there are many student-friendly cities where you can easily find part-time employment. If you want to know more about these cities, you can contact us, have an individual appointment with us. We are happy to assist you with that. Master of Ayurvedic Medicine. There are opportunities, but contact us. We are happy to assist you with this. There can be many other fields going together with Ayurveda medicine. IT and computer science, I answered already. There are a lot of opportunities. Permanent residency after masters, you can, and the time duration to take permanent residency is depend on the state. And also if you're employed in the same field, it can be even quicker. And about the quality of the universities in Germany, don't worry about that. There are different German organizations to work on the quality of these programs, and you can also refer world ranking of these universities. How can I contact you? I'll give you my contact details also. Is it difficult to find part-time employment in different cities? Answer is no. There are different part-time. there are different organizations to provide part-time employment also. It's not going to be a trouble, and I don't know any student from Sri Lanka, those who could not secure a part-time employment while studying in Germany. There's also a question about dependent visa. If you are a DAAD scholarship holder, you can accompany your family with your spouse and your kids. There's a separate allowance by DAAD. That is only if you get a DAAD scholarship. For other students, until you complete your studies, it is not possible at the moment. Now, if you're a DAAD scholarship holder, your partner can work full-time in Germany. Pharmacology funding, no, we don't have. I think we have answered most of your questions. If there's anything else, you can still write them down in the chat option. And there are a couple of things I need to highlight at this point. DAAD is the largest funding organization in the world, but that is just only one funding organization. There are many other funding organizations, like Alexander von Humboldt Association is another popular funding, especially for postdoctoral researchers. So we have German political organizations like Friedrich Naumann Foundation, so Friedrich Ebert Foundation, Rosa Luxemburg Foundation. Search for their funding also. And Erasmus Plus is another funding organization. And if the funding body is from Germany, we have a place in our scholarship database. Our funding database is not limited to DAAD funding. So these are funding organizations. And once again, universities have different grants. Stay in touch with the universities. So sometimes they have grants direct from the university. DAAD grants are applicable for all German universities. Ramesh question. For masters, it is not the case. We are university specific. We have limited grants for masters. But for PhD, yes, it's applicable for any discipline, any university. English-related program funding. For PhD, yes, we can consider funding, but not masters. Okay, there's a question, interesting question that can be benefited from most of the students. What is the step after graduating from University of Peradeniya? Number one, search for scholarship options. Go through the scholarship database of DAAD and see whether there's any funding options to you to apply. See all other requirements, your language, course duration, whether it's the exact field, whether they're asking for experience. If there's any grant that you can apply, go ahead and apply. Yeah, together with the university application, you need to send the DAAD funding request also. If let's say that you don't have any funding from DAAD, in that case, you can refer International Programs database, which I have given a short while ago, and maintain an Excel sheet. Highlight things like what is the city, what is the university, what is the intake, whether the university is entirely free of charge, what is the course content, what are the deadlines. So maintain an Excel sheet. So, and also highlight what is the application method. If it's direct, apply direct. If it's through another portal, apply through UniAssist. Yeah. So that's how it is. And soon after you have an admission from a German university, apply for visa. This is the process. If I give some tips to you, soon after if you receive an admission, you have to apply for visa. Otherwise, there's a competition for your visa. Number one. Number two, German universities are free of charge. Therefore, the competition also can be a bit tough, a bit high. So don't apply only for one or two universities. Shortlist universities as much as possible and apply for a lot of universities. Then the probability of you getting selected to a German university will be also high. That's the process if it's a bachelor student. I have done my first degree in 6 years ago. Is it a matter to apply for DAAD scholarship? At the time of application, if it's not more than 6 years, then there's no problem. if it's more than 6 years, if you can prove certain things like if you were pregnant or if you were not well, then you can always talk to DAAD. But in general, to apply for DAAD funding, your last qualification should not be older than 6 years. Is IELTS compulsory for DAAD scholarship for masters? Yes. Okay, about the CV format. To apply for German universities, you have to have European CV format. You can download it. There are different templates available online in different languages like French, German, Russian. It's available in English also. So download the English template and fill your details. There's nothing new. If we get the DAAD scholarship, is it essential to open a blocked account? No. If you have funding from DAAD or any organization, it can be from the Sri Lankan government or German government, DAAD, any other funding organization. And if the funding is for your living expenses, then you do not have to maintain a blocked account. That's basically it. A lot of questions. I'm really happy to see a lot of questions in the Q&A session. That avoids a lot of confusions. And to mark the end of my presentation, I would like to highlight you can do, if you're interested in Germany, you can do the process on your own. See whether there's any funding options. Our target is to provide information on free universities and to provide information on scholarships. So if you have any question, reach out to us, drop us an email, give us a call. We have the mobile number given here. And also through the website, you can have an individual consultation session. And stay in touch with our events page. There we have a lot of events. If you missed anything today, there are a lot of events lined up through DAAD also. Yeah, I think I have answered all the questions. Ms. Tenakon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Nadesha. So with that, we have reached the end of today's program, and I would like to convey my sincere gratitude to all who made this webinar session successful. First of all, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Mr. Nadesha Ranganath Palliyeguru, Sri Lankan representative of German Academic Exchange Service, who coordinated this event from the beginning and provided all the support and also very informative presentation, and gave his fully contribution to make this webinar a success and answering all the questions that our participants had. I would also like to thank Professor Senare Alas, Director INRO, for his support and guidance to make this event a success. And last but not least, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to the staff members of INRO, including Mr. Sandakethirivira, who did a great job within a very limited period. Finally, I would like to thank all the participants who are present here today for joining us, and hope to be a very valuable session for all of you. And just to remind you, the information session for PhDs will be conducted tomorrow at the same time. So who are interested in PhD programs, I mean scholarship programs for PhDs, you can participate in tomorrow's session because it is specific for PhD opportunities and the scholarships available for PhDs. And thank you all. And with that, we have reached the end of today's information session on scholarship opportunities for masters in Germany. We will share the recording of the information session in our YouTube channel. And also, I have received many requests from our participants to share the recording of today's session with them. So since we have your email addresses, we will share the once we share it in the YouTube channel, we will share the link with you. So thank you very much and have a nice day. Thank you.
Have a nice day.